took me time and until I translated everything there and retranslated it in a question in German.
German terms are very long and complicated.
I didn't want to be a 30-year-old student. So I finished in Moldova in Chisinau University.
Because of many reasons, I dropped out the university.
It was a good decision, in my opinion, and in yours as well. So,
hello, my name is Luminita.
And my name is Angelica.
And welcome to Post-Soviet Sisters podcast.
Here you're going to witness a sister talk.
And today, because it's the beginning for some people of university applications, maybe someone that is in high school is thinking what to do after graduating, we thought about telling you about our university experiences. We both studied abroad. And we studied different things at different faculties, at different universities, in different years. And I think it will be very interesting for you to hear how we found universities, our impressions, what we regret, what we don't regret.
So I would like to start off with. I mix sometimes languages, German and English. I'm very sorry.
She's just flexing her multilinguality.
No, but I noticed in some videos of ours that I did sometimes put some German words inside of there, and I remember just was small story. I remember some colleagues of ours who went to study in Italy. They came back and then they started all of a sudden to put some, like Italian words inside of their sentences. And I was like, all of us were like, oh, they're like just trying to be cool and trying to show that off. Yeah, to show off. And now I understand that it is not like that. You're literally thinking in different languages, and we speak 2 minutes ago we spoke in another language, and half an hour ago we spoke in totally another language, so it's very complicated sometimes. And that's why studying abroad and choosing university, I would like to start off with the decision of going to study abroad. What made us going abroad? Me personally, I was like, I knew it from I think from a very young age, from 10 years old, that I'm going to study abroad. Due to the fact that we were dancing and I was traveling from some time to time, and I saw another countries, not only post-Soviet countries, but also European countries. And I saw them, don't get me wrong, Moldova is a beautiful, beautiful country and I love it. It's my mother country. But I just saw the pretty big difference between our countries. And I witnessed it. I witnessed some situations in the school, and I thought, okay, I don't want to have it at the university. And I will a little spice up. I studied in Moldova as well for 2 months. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So that was my decision. I knew it, and I took the decision when I was 10, and I grew up with it. So it was not something that I decided 1 year or half a year before graduating. It was like, okay, I'm going to be somewhere.
For me, it was rather similar. Because of our dancing, but generally, I consider myself a rather open-minded person and a very curious person.
Yes, you are.
And that is why for me it was always interesting to see how it can be different. And it has nothing to do, as in your case, with hate of the country, not at all. I knew that studying in Moldova for me was not a problem because I had good grades. I could get into a university, maybe not on a budget, but whatever. And I think for me it was more of wondering how it can be
Outside.
And because I knew there was kind of a safety level in the sense that I knew if it doesn't work, I can come back home and I'll go to university. I was more in the mindset, why not try? Like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if I don't try it now, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. And this is how I decided to move. but it was not a rush decision. It was very well thought. And additionally, because you were abroad, for me, it was also with the direction or the country that I will go to first was also pretty clear.
So you see the difference between me and her. I didn't take into consideration to come back to the university, so I didn't have this thought.
I didn't take it in consideration.
No, I didn't. For me, it was obvious. I didn't think, not even for a second, if it will not work, I will go back and study in Moldova. And then I graduated, actually, finally in Moldova, my university. And you thought maybe if it doesn't work, will go back. And you graduated in Europe, so
Yeah.
it's like a little vice versa, everything. But yeah.
But I think we both, neither of us had a conventional way of graduating school and then going straight to university and graduating it. Neither of us did it.
So if you're right now, listen, we will tell you maybe the very compact story, our stories,
Of course.
and maybe come to you with some, I don't know what age our listeners and viewers, but I'm sure you have relatives or you have siblings or you maybe, I don't know, have already children
That go to university.
that are going to university to apply for the universities. But maybe we can, because I definitely did some big mistakes and I would not do them again. And I would be happy if at that time somebody told me, listen, this is shit easy, this is this works pretty good, and take a chance and take this option. This is by the way, this is one thing I did with you when you were struggling. We stopped and we solved the situation the way we solved it. And it was a good decision, in my opinion, and in yours as well. So, yeah.
I think to keep it structured, because we are told we're not very structured. So maybe to keep it structured, I propose that you first give a very short overview of your university way from the beginning till the end, very compact without too many details.
Yep.
Then I can say the same. And then after that, after I tell my story, you can give the main pieces of advice that you would recommend. And then I can do the same.
So I applied for some universities in Romania at their embassy. And I remember, like you have to know our school system. I don't know how it works right now, but at that time I remember that we studied in the capital of Moldova, in one of the best schools at that time in Chisinau. And we had a school uniform, a very strict one. So the school was very, strict.
Yeah, it was a public school. It was not a private school, but it was one of the best.
Yes, and I remember going to the embassy with all my documents, and you had to fill in some formulas, and I was so shocked because my grades were good as well. I studied very hard. She was not so hard studying, but she had good marks as well, right? So it was easier for you. You know what I mean? I'm more stupid. I'm not more stupid. I'm not stupid, but she's like a very intelligent. I don't know how it works. So
just a little stop, just a mini stop to comment to that. If you're in school, if you have children or siblings that are still in school, best piece of advice I can give you: study hard and be a good student at the beginning.
Yes.
And then later, you have a certain reputation or a personal brand, call it however you want it. But teachers know that, like, oh, she knows. That's why they don't ask. That's why last years I almost never did my homework, because
what?
Rarely. I knew I could look into, like, because in Moldova you get grades not just for tests but also when you're asked in the class. So I could look and see, okay, I was not asking this from this professor for already 2 weeks. I guess this time or next time I'll be asked. So I prepared then. And then if it was a surprise, I was still reading, but because the information is repeating year after year, more or less, I had some basic knowledge. So, and I'm a great improviser. So yeah, learn at the beginning, get a good reputation as a student that knows, and be a good improviser.
She's a great improviser. I'm a very bad one, and I could never
Acting
how
classes.
yes, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I could never at the tests, I could never
Cheat.
cheat. Never. It was I was getting red and then Bordeaux and then yellow and then green, and everybody saw that I'm doing something I'm not supposed to do, and I was like,
Okay, I think we have a lot of stories from school. Let
yes,
us know in the comments if you're interested,
yes,
because we have a
yes.
lot. Please,
Never mind.
things
So
ask me.
I was there filling it to come back to the embassy. I was there filling up the forms, and there was a guy who had only we have 10 grades system. 10 is the best one. If you get a 5, you're just over
It's a
the.
past.
It's a past, and below it's I don't know why there are 5.
It's like
to
you didn't pass, but how badly did you pass?
yes,
Like,
how
are you a big
the level
failure or you're a
so
huge piece of shit?
I remember I had something, I don't know, 9, something around 9. And it's a very, very good mark for Chisinau. It's a very, very, very good mark for Lyceum. It was great. I was one of the greatest in my school. And this guy had 10, 10, 10 everywhere, 10. And he's, of course, supposed to be better than I am. Even for the people who are going to be at the universities, looking through through the list, they would take him instead of me because he was like 10 only. And he turned to me and asked, listen, what is a real part and what is humanitarian part? Because you choose the directions of your studies when you're going to high school. And I was so shocked he didn't know this because he had only 10, and he didn't know the difference between them. And I was shocked, and I couldn't answer him. And uh,
Just a little specifications for those that are not from Moldova. When you go to high school, you can take two directions.
yes,
Either have more subjects or major in more real science or applied science, such as math, physics, chemistry, and so on and so forth. Or you can go the more language or artistic part, and then you major more in languages and art.
yes. So I thought, okay, from this point, all my mindset changed a little bit because I understood something is going wrong. Because even when you apply in Chisinau, you apply like they don't look if you studied in one of the best and strict schools or you just studied in some school in Chisinau. They are like you're like all the others, only that marks you got there, you got them much harder than somebody else. Plus, we had a very stupid system of, calculation of marks. This decreased our marks as well. Anyways, so I applied for some universities in Romania and then I applied for a university in Moldova just in case I will not pass there.
So you had a backup plan, so you considered it. Liar. At the beginning, you said you were not even considering it.
No. When I got
Liar.
when I got to Austria, I didn't consider it. No, I was not lying.
Caught red-handed.
No. And then I started like maybe 1 year or 6 months, 1 year before I graduated school. I started learning German because some coworker of our mother, her children studied in Austria. So she told my mom, "Oh, I know how your girl could go to study abroad." So I started learning German. And I applied for college in Austria. So Romanians didn't take me to Moldova because in Austria they accepted everything. Although I didn't speak German, but okay, this is completely another episode story. Anyways, but here studies start in October. Well, in that year it started, I think, on the 15th of October or something like that. And in Moldova, studies start on the 1st September. And I thought, okay, I was accepted there and there. So I just went to Moldovan University just for fun. And I was shocked about studying there. Then I came to the college here and I was shocked here again because I didn't speak at all German. I remember, like you have, it was a tourism college and you have theoretical part and you have practical part. And at that practical part, you have to cook, and then another week you have to service and in cook. Let alone all the controlling lessons, like it was. Can you imagine that? I could barely say my name is Angelica in German, so I don't know what I was thinking about, but okay. Um, and at these practical lessons, somebody told me, please go and get some onion. And I thought this I didn't understand onion, this word. And I thought to myself, okay, I have to remember this word, and go to my colleague and ask what's that in English. And when I got to this girl, I forgot the word. So it was very stupid. Anyways, then I tried to study at the University of Innsbruck. I applied there, and I was like, and then I thought, listen, I have so many
But you
acquaintances.
didn't study at the university.
I went to some lessons. I
Okay.
went to the welcome party, and I went to some lessons.
I went to the welcome party.
No. It was like at the beginning. It's very hard. It's very hard to study in a foreign country without speaking that language. You may speak even if you speak basics like this, but you have to speak a little bit more in order to study. And I'm not the type of person. I have to understand what I study. I cannot like learn it by heart and just write something. I have to understand this. So
And to be fair, I think when you started university in Austria, there were not so many internationals. So people were not, at Innsbruck at least, they were not that used to
nobody spoke with me English.
English.
Nobody,
Right.
nobody, because they
Because now it's
like
different.
no, you are here in Austria, you speak German, and that helped somehow because now I'm fluent in German. But like it was a hardcore path road. Anyways, and then I saw some examples how foreigners study at the university like 10 years, 15 years, and I was working at that time full time, and I didn't want by God study 10 years or something like that. So I applied for a distance studying in Moldova, and then I had to study in Moldova and work full time, which I don't recommend, but this comes as the recommendation at the end. And I had to. It was complicated. Even that was complicated because I had to fly home for these sessions, what
Exams.
you
Yeah.
exams, what you have, and I had to my people who I was working for. They were not so understanding, so I had to literally like just fly to write these things and come back 2 days later, and at 2 o'clock I had to be at work, and it was like no understanding, absolutely zero. It was every time I asked for, and they knew it, of course, because they were used that I have to fly home for my exams. And uh, when the period arrived, they were like always doing like that, and yeah, again, and I was like, yeah. So I finished in Moldova, in Chisinau, my university. Mm, I think this was an experience. I cannot tell you if it was useful for me or not. The only thing I can tell is that the only useful thing at the university was when I was writing my diploma,
Your
my
thesis?
my thesis, my bachelor thesis. You have to write it, in Moldova, on the example of a real company. So I took an example of a real company, of a meat company. And I got so much involved in that work that I enjoyed for the first time, maybe, at the university. So I saw the numbers of that company, how they produce, what they do, and blah blah blah. And it was so interesting because my work was about workers' motivation. And it was I asked our dad to bring me, because he had some acquaintances at that company, to bring me some details, and it was really interesting. Maybe 1 month of my university for me. All the rest was hell. I wouldn't repeat it again.
But you also have a master's degree.
Yes,
Is it at the same Moldovan university?
yes,
Okay, so you just continued with a
yes,
master's degree,
yes,
also at the distance, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it of course it's longer than you study 1 year longer, but in my case it was the optimal decision, because people who I was studying with in Austria, they finished university last year or something like this, and it's it's good for them. It's their decision. It was not for me. I didn't want to stuck in this. I still wanted to have this formal paper, but I didn't want to stuck in that process because I didn't
Yeah,
want to be a 30-year-old student. It was for me, like a no
yeah,
go. And I was really working very hard, and I had a very good career move at that time.
yeah.
So yes, this is my road.
My story is different, but it also was not that straightforward as the normal one. I graduated school. I knew I wanted to go to university. I was planning to study in Germany actually. But because Angelica was in Austria, I was like, okay, I'll go there just to get acquainted to Austrian German culture. Because I visited some German courses, German language courses before, but I wanted to learn the language as they in the
The
country.
spoken, yeah.
Exactly. Um, in one of our videos, I told you already that I took a gap year. It was a decision that very happy that it was supported by our parents. Because every single time when I say I took a gap year, a lot of students from Moldova are like, "Wow, like you had so much courage to do this." Because a lot of
And you
people
are so blessed to have such parents because,
exactly.
yes, in
Um,
our country, it's supposed to go to kindergarten, school, university, masters, and then marry, have children, and
and then the second child and
yeah, yes, divorce. Hmm. No.
So yeah, I took a gap year just to be in Austria for this 1 year to get some money. Again, in one of our episodes about money, we told you about our money mindset. And then the plan was to go to Germany afterwards. But I got used to Austria. I think I don't know. It was out of the comfort, or because exactly when I started university, again in our one of our episodes, I think previous or the one before that, we told you about the darkest periods of our time. So this is when it started, and I don't know, either out of comfort or because I was in this bubble, I kind of gave up on the idea to go to a different country. So I stayed in Innsbruck and I applied for the state university. I studied there for 1 semester, and
Well, you were officially there for 1 semester. You studied there less.
I almost the whole semester.
You
Oh,
went to lessons?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was
Still
the
not sure about that.
no, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I even know exactly what courses I had and how the teachers looked like. But for me, again, because I was in a very weird mental situation, and because I was used to be one of the best. I was never number one, but I wanted always to be one of the best. And the university was impossible for me because it was in German. And there were kids in Austria. There is a school, a economic school that you go, and then after that you can go to study. I was studying economics, and then you go study at the university. And the majority of the kids had this school, so they knew the basics of accounting, for example, or the basics of everything.
Well, children in Austria, they learn literally at school,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
a normal school, like Rechnungswesen,
yeah, accounting.
accounting, And in our school, we did
No,
not
but
have
like
this.
these kids were all from that specific school, hack
Yes.
Handelsakademie. And that's why the teachers they decided that they don't want to bore them, so we jumped all the basics. And they were talking on a very different level, and I was very far away from everything. And in German, I do speak German. I'm
That's
very
what that
fluent.
was my point too.
And the thing is, I'm fluent in German, but they are terms, and German German terms are very long and complicated. And same as you, I could have passed exams just by learning by heart. I didn't want that. I same as you, I need to understand because I want to understand because that's the purpose of the studies. Anyways, because of many reasons, I dropped out the university. I went back to working, and then I applied to a different university. It's the other university is a mix of University of Applied Science and business school and something else. So it's kind of a different thing. It's private, but because we are citizens of the European Union, we didn't pay so much. Because just for some information for those that are not from Austria or Germany, universities, public universities are free of charge, both in Austria and in Germany for those
You have
that
to
are,
pay like only for your books, like
yeah,
20 euros a semester.
and for the student union in Austria, and which is 20 euros per semester. So it's nothing. And the university, that the second university I went, we had to pay, I don't know, 500 euros per semester, which is also nothing compared to others. Um, about my direction of studies, I took it was I took the decision to study economics and business, not because it was cool or because someone told me that, but because I was really interested into that. Actually, I was because I'm both creative and yet I was always good in maths, and it is something interesting for me. I thought about studying marketing, but the university didn't have a marketing faculty,
Mhm.
and business and management was the nearest to it,
Mhm.
which also had marketing class in it. Um, yeah, the decision that I want to study business or economics was taken even in high school. It was not a guess. But yeah, I studied at the university. Don't regret it. I studied at university in English. It's the only faculty in English in Innsbruck in Austria. I don't know.
No,
Um,
no, in Innsbruck, in Vienna, and then there are another English
at least in
faculties
the
as well.
region, in the
Yes, yes,
Tyrol, it's the
yes,
only
yes.
one. And well, it was morally easier for me.
Yeah, of course, because you can argue at least, or you can tell your point of view, or you can,
Although by the
you're not afraid to open your mouth and say something. Because in German classes, I don't know how about you, but at the beginning at my university and in the college, I was afraid. I translated everything in in my head, and it took me time and until I translated everything there and retranslated it in a question in German at the
yeah,
point when I could do this because it's it was not at the beginning.
yeah. And I'll come back to it when we talk about the pieces of advice. But the second university I was studying was, as I said, kind of a university of applied science, and the structure of these universities, like the standard one and the of applied science, is very different. And well, okay, I'll come back to it when we talk about pieces of advice, but you have to take it also into consideration. I didn't know about that. But yeah, I studied there. My last year was Corona year. I was one of those very lucky people that studied in Corona times. I graduated with honors. And
I was so proud. I was so proud.
and about masters, right now I'm not studying masters, and I'm not considering studying masters for now. Maybe later, but
When you
it's
we have already 30 minutes, but when I think people start to study masters, it makes sense when you're going to be really in this research and scientific field, or as you want to do it later when you're working and you choose all of a sudden, like you find
specialized because I know.
your like your job of or your direction of your dreams, and you're pretty much when you're so interested and you want to study this. But I know a lot of children, and I bet you know more, that study after bachelor masters because they want to still get money from their parents and like to be students longer, to not have responsibilities, and which is not bad. But for me it was, like, for me it was not a question because I was still working full time.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Yeah,
well, I have
you
some.
have to really really think about the sense of your masters
Exactly.
after you graduate. If it makes sense, of course. If it doesn't make sense at this moment, then
I mean, you don't have to have a master's. And for me, it was more important for me to gain experience and find the direction.
yes.
And now, since 1 week, I'm thinking about taking a master's, not right now, but a little bit later. But I'm thinking already about direction. I'm looking at some universities, what kind of masters they have in the direction, and I'm happy I took the decision because if you asked me at the beginning of my studies, would tell you, okay, I'm doing my bachelor is now in business and management, and then my master's in marketing. I worked in marketing, and I realized it's not bad. It's just not for me, and I don't want to go that field. That's why now I'm considering a master's in something connected to psychology because this is what I'm interested right now in, and this is what I think I'll connect my
Future.
career with.
Hmm.
But that's not the point. The point is, yeah, my story is not that dramatic. I studied just one country, and only bachelors. But yeah, that was my journey. From your experience, what would you recommend students that are now applying or people that have siblings that are applying?
Go to a university, a country. If you want to study abroad outside of your country, it doesn't matter what, which country. If you are planning to go abroad for your study, please choose a country which you can, or the university, the language, with the language you are studying that you are fluent in, because it is really it like this all this happiness of studying is very it's demotivating to sit there and understand just like basics. This is the very first what I would have changed in my decisions. Then don't stick to, of course you have not to jump from one study to another, because I know somebody like that too, like they tried literally all the faculties at the university. But if you feel you're not okay with that, don't stick to that, and think, okay, I'm going to finish this, because like the third and one of the most pieces the important one of the most important of advice pieces of advice for me is, do not um make it better like she did. Do a gap year if you need it, make some money, and then go study and work, maybe like, I don't know, maybe 8 hours a week, not more. Because studying and working full time as I did, it was a real hell, because you're not even enjoying your job, and you're not really enjoying your studies, because you're always sitting on two chairs, and you have to be one of the best representatives on both chairs. You're trying, at least, and it was for me a constant running. Well, I'm running since I'm 7 years old. But it was a constant running. And you know the moments, yes, when I wanted to have some fun, because I was young too, I was feeling already always bad that I'm not studying or working right now. And it was like a shitty decision, all in all. So these were three advices yeah, I could tell you. Yeah, and then besides masters, what we already told.
Yeah. I think for me, first, think really well if you want to go abroad and why you want to go abroad. Just because it's cool, I don't think that's a good enough reason. At least for me, and I know for others, when you think of going abroad, it's oftentimes like, oh, life is there just better and shinier and greater. But you have to understand that moving abroad implies the fact that you'll not see your parents, you'll not see your friends, you'll have to make new friends. And it's not good or bad. It's just you have to realize that. My second piece of advice, and this is what I was talking about earlier, inform yourself about the structure of the university because they're different. Usually, the standard universities they have less courses, less number of
Hmm.
courses, and then you have exams in the end, big exams in the end, and then there are a lot of students in these huge rooms. Like I remember, we were
300,
350
yes.
350 students.
And you always get your number, like you have a number.
Yeah,
you're not Luminita Florea, you're like your number. You
exactly.
always run with these numbers, yes.
And you can imagine that the approach that the professor has is not personal at all. Which again, it has its beauties for some people that don't want to be like very present, or if you're not there, if it's not mandatory to be at the lessons, nobody will notice you that you are not there. But and during your semester, you can party and have your fun. But in the end, when you have the big exams, you have to like you're not really. I know people that book 1 month of just
Yeah.
studying nonstop.
Yeah.
Um, or there is a model of University of Applied Science, and this is what I did later. And I know people that also took the same decision, and there they are more courses, so it's not just 4 or 5. There I had 13, 15 in the same semester, but they are shorter, and you have
Mm-hmm.
more exams, shorter exams, but they are more frequent. So you don't have all your exams in the end. You have to study all the time and pass exams throughout the whole
Mhm.
semester. And the classes are way smaller. So we were 45 at the beginning. Of course, with the time, the group was smaller and smaller. But the approach from the teachers is way more personal. I could ask questions. For me, it's important when I
And
don't
a
understand
practical
something.
question, and just a side note, at the state university, they are like they are very theoretical. The right
I
the
would not say so. I thought that's a misconception because it really depends on the professor.
oh yes, of course, of course, of course, of course. But like what I did like at the concept of the university you studied at, because I considered that university at my time as well, but I was not at that time member of European Union, and I had to pay 3,000 euros per semester, and it was too much for us.
It's 5,000 now, by the way,
Yes, or
per
3,000.
semester.
Yes, yes. So like they are all. I enjoy people who are in the subject, who are working in that field, and then come and tell you something. But again, it depends. Maybe some of them can like be great workers, but they cannot teach you that, and vice versa.
I thought all the
Yes.
teachers will be like working in
Mm-hmm.
in, in companies. No, some were
Yes.
just just or they were just in academia. But the approach was much more personal. It was important for me, as I was saying, if I have a question, I want to ask it. And what also is a big plus in the University of Applied Science model is that there are a lot of group works
Yes.
and
Mhm.
a lot of projects. So you study theory, but you also can try to apply it. And my third piece of advice, this is what I partially regret. University is there for you not only to get knowledge, but also to build networks. And I partially regret that I didn't do that because by the time I started university, I already worked. I was already a student before, so I had my party times. I was out, and I enjoyed all that before starting the university. So when I started the university, I was not that interested anymore into all this endless parties at the beginning of
Networking.
the
Mhm.
semester. And I started a committed relationship, which led now to an engagement. So I could not just go wild because I was starting a relationship with a nice guy back then.
Mhm.
So why I say I partially regret it is because through those parties at the beginning in the very first semester, friendships start to build, groups start to build because people get to know each other in informal ways, not at the university. Also in the group projects. But I remember at the beginning, nobody knew each other, but then groups started to build because they were at that part and then they had memories and they had, remember you were that drunk. So they had their
You were that drunk.
yeah, but like this is what creates those groups and that then later can develop into bigger friendships or important networking in future careers. I don't have that. So I don't say you have to go wild in your first semester and don't study, but consider the fact that through this informal parties, you get to know people.
Yes.
Yeah, that was very intense and expressive from my feeling um, episode. In the end, that will be just 1.5 hours. But yeah,
Almost.
if it was useful for you, please, please, please leave us a thumbs up if you're watching this episode on YouTube. and subscribe to our channel. This encourages us very much to create even more and more episodes. Although we have to say, our main reason why we do this is not to gain a lot of subscribers. We just enjoy talking to each other. And yeah, I think one of the missions of this episode is also to I don't know, make
We are called post-Soviet sisters,
yeah,
right? So we are giving you some insight of how we do choose our way to university. For example, in this episode, because we are pretty much sure that in Sweden, for example, there children
absolutely.
will tell you some different stories.
But also in
And
Moldova now, I talk to some students and it's different. The world is much more globalized now and
yes,
people
and
are much more open to study abroad and get information.
of
And
course,
students at the universities, they
I
are
have
more
to say,
international.
yes, and I have to say, it was 2009 when I went abroad for study. It
Yeah.
was completely different story, completely different story. So, just enjoy our post-Soviet stories. We are, I don't know, it's like 40 minutes right now. We have to do our episodes shorter, but our sister talks are always like 2 days long if we can. And yeah, we hope you can you made the right decision and you enjoy your path, your career right now. Um, Share with us your stories because we know that people who are following us on YouTube, they are in some way friends with us. So please, and I'm sure I don't know a lot of stories of yours. So I would be just interested to read your stories. Please share them with me,
With us.
with us.
And have a great day. And we see each other in the next episode.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.